Peace and love, family. Welcome again to U.S. Political Prisoners and You, brought to you by the powerful station at Black Power Media. If you have not subscribed to Black Power Media, please do so. We got to control our own narrative. And one thing for sure is that the one way we can control our own narrative is by controlling our own platform. And Black Power Media is such a platform. Today, I'll be talking about Black Veg Fest. 2026 is coming up. August 8th is going to be at Lincoln Park. That's in Brooklyn, New York. If you happen to be out here, please show up. Let's come together. Let's organize. It's an expression of self-determination. It's an expression of letting our community know that, we have the right to control our community. We have the right to let our community know that these are ideas, these are concepts that are beneficial to our collective growth. Sometimes we ignore our diet. Sometimes we get caught up in everyday life and we don't think about what we're putting into our body until we get lightheaded, until we pass out, until we go to the doctor's appointment and we're told that our blood pressures are high and that we need to monitor our diet. Then we want to start exercising. So diet is very important. It's essential to who we are and how we're going to develop and how we sustain ourselves in this fight. This fight is long term. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. So we got to be very honest with ourselves about what is needed for us to continue and how we go about doing that. So, like what I do when I come on this platform is make sure that we go over the definition again of political prisoner and prisoner of war. It's important because I want you to be able to take that definition and decide what it means to you personally. How are you going to interact with that? Are you going to make time to write to a political prisoner? Are you going to be involved with a campaign at any level? Are you going to do your due diligence and decide that this is something that you want to be a part of on any level, right? You could write to a political prisoner. You could take it one step further and be a part of a formation. There are a number of formations going on. You have the formation around freeing the Virgin Island 3. You have the formation around freeing Kamal Siddiqui, a former member of the Black Liberation Army, or veteran member of the Black Panther Party. Also, he was instrumental in just bringing ideas to Jamaica Queens around being a part of the Black Panther Party and being a part of that community for a while. I thought about him and I thought about his contribution and his sacrifices, and I thought about why is this part of our history, our struggle for self-determination, not being told in this area. So it made me want to do more things and get more involved and bring some ideas around political prisoners to that community, along with others that I was working with. But my point is that, Black Veg Fest allows us to express our right to self-determination. It allows us to be very serious about the idea of diet, about that being as important as any other thing, as fighting police violence, right? How are you going to stand up to police violence if you're not healthy? Right, our Black Panther Party members, our Black Liberation Army members, they knew the importance and the value of training, right? And part of training is your diet, right? You could run 3 to 5 miles, but how are you going to do that if you're not dieting properly? You could do 50 to 100 push-ups, but how are you going to do that if you're not dieting properly? So Black Veg Fest allows us to take our diet very seriously. It allows us to examine it. So that being said, the definition of political prisoner, a person who is held in confinement because of their support for people struggling for freedom from an oppressive government or against its oppressive policies, or participating in an organization involved in such a freedom struggle. Prisoner of war, a national combatant of an oppressed nation held in confinement by the oppressed nation because of their participation in an organization fighting for self-determination, independence, or national liberation from the oppressor nation, or for support of or identity with that struggle. So there you have it. And that's on the back of our card, our palm card for Curb Fest. Curb Fest is coming in August, Black August. So I think that Black Veg Fest is important that it happened in Black August, right? Because it's a time where we focus on what George Jackson contributed to our struggle for self-determination. And what does it mean to recognize his sacrifice, his commitment? We do a personal analysis of what Black August means. We know about dieting. We know about fasting. We know about exercising. We know about intense political education. You know, we're reminded of that every Black August. Now, how much of it we do, you know, that's up to us personally, but it's there to remind us that, you know, this time or this work requires intense discipline, right? We all going to struggle at any different levels of our discipline, but yet and still we come to the realization that in order for us to participate in this struggle long term, we have to make an assessment about that. So my brother, uh, he was the founder of Black Veg Fest. He wrote a book, and the book is called An Introduction to Veganism and Agricultural Globalism. On the back, it says, An Introduction to Veganism and Agricultural Globalism, organizing activist Omowale Adewale delves deep beyond vegan cooking to uncover the dirt about the United States, Western imperialism, supranational neo-colonialist global plan to work with Monsanto to sell GMO crops to Africa, Asia, Europe, Latin America, Australia, and the entire world, thus weaponizing food through big ag. Along the way, he gives insight into uh, phytoestrogens and soy while helping readers learn where vegans can easily obtain their protein and vitamin B12. Adewale discusses food and land sovereignty under a Black framework, Black veganism, the European Union, China, and the third world worldview of agricultural trade. This is a helpful vegan guide and cookbook with various vegan recipes, including smoothies and a detox juice. Whether you are transitioning to veganism, an athlete, or a political enthusiast and activist, let me say that again, or a political enthusiast and activist. An introduction to veganism and agricultural globalism touches on a plethora of topics and offers solutions for the reader to consider. Omowale Adewale is an organizer with over 20 years of theoretical and practical application in enhancing egalitarian concepts and systems. He is the founder of Black Veg Fest and co-founder of Grassroots Artist Movement. Adewale is a two-time kickboxing and boxing champion in New York and the editor, contributor of Brother Vegan. He is a devoted father and partner to Nadia Muyeb, who also founded Liberation Farm based in Jeffersonville, New York. I had the opportunity to go to Liberation Farm. I was very impressed. We had extensive dialogue, and I just wanted him to know that, you know, I respected what he was doing because, you know, everybody talks about buying a house. Everybody talks about moving to a certain location, but I very rarely hear people talk about land, purchasing land, organizing the land, producing their own food. You know, it's very important that we make that assessment because what does it mean that if we have a house and then we still have to go to the supermarket? You know, we're still not actually being hands-on and directly responsible for the type of food that we're consuming. And I know that one question could lead to another question, could lead to another question, and it's ongoing. But I think his approach with the Liberation Farms makes us think about this situation. And Black Veg Fest allows us to come together, focus on our diet, focus on the importance of it, and making a serious decision or assessment about our diet and what route we need to go. I know me being a vegan since I became 50. I'm 52 now, so I have 2 years in. It definitely wasn't a hard process because I still was eating the fish before I decided that I'm going to leave that alone. I already eliminated the dairy and the eggs, so I just had to leave the fish alone. And once I did that, you know, I was fully committed to vegan lifestyle. I haven't been struggling. I know people make a view of what I'm doing and want to ask me questions. I give them my best advice. I know it requires a certain level of discipline, but I really seen the benefits of it because it allowed me to have a certain level of endurance, of a certain level of discipline, right? Because you might go to an event and certain food is being served there, and you think about how it was when you once ate those particular dishes and those particular meals, and now you made that change. So now you looked at a certain way, and people are building curiosity on that. But now you have the opportunity to make that connection between your diet and your outlook, right? And how that impacts your ability to be an organizer around your people's right to self-determination. It allows you to let people know the importance of discipline and focus, right? Because when you talk about certain lifestyles, when you talk about dieting, when you talk about that level of discipline, people automatically say, I can't do this, I can't do that. But when you're looking at a situation and you're asking yourself, why can't I do it? I need to take up my health very seriously. I don't need to wait for a doctor to tell me I'm in a situation where if I don't make no serious change, it's going to go from bad to worse. Who wants to be in that predicament to be told that? Because now you're in that panic mode. Now your emotions are taking over instead of you being in that disciplined state where you can make a clear assessment of everything and decide that you're going to do what is necessary because you want the best health, right? If you're out in the corner uh, talking to people about what's going on in the Black community and how you're going to sustain that level of passion, that level of commitment, that level of focus, right? Because this work, you do it for 5 years, you do it for 10 years, you do it for 15 years, and you see certain results, and but the desires to see other results, and yet and still, you still have to keep going, regardless of who's with you or not, because you're conscious, and once you're conscious, you can't be unconscious, and that was for me. For me, I was able to be conscious about eating a certain way and how it made me feel. And so I'm on the corner, maybe with leaflets about a particular idea, and I'm talking to the community, and I feel this boost of energy happen, and I contribute that to my lifestyle, to my diet, to veganism. It allows me to continue to go on, whether I'm on the corner with 2 people, 20 people, or just by myself. It allows me to continue this work at a certain level. So this book, you sometimes you see a book and you don't necessarily make the connection to our politics and our right to self-determination. But then when you start reading it, as I read in the back, and the brother talked about uh, imperialism, capitalism on the world stage, you start to understand how it's connected. And that's very important because in the book, when I was reading it prior to me coming on, he made a statement. He said, everything is political. So farmland, dieting, the food we eat, everything is political. You go to the doctor is giving you this bill, that's because it's political, right? The doctor is going to give you pills that's going to make sure that he able to profit more from that visit, right? There's no money in the solution, right? And Black Veg Fest allows us to come up with a solution. It is organized by love. It's an expression of love. It's no different than what the Black Panther Party did when they was supplying the community with food for breakfast, right? And they had these breakfast programs, and children were able to go and function better. But we advanced that, right? Because from what I was told, the Black Panther Party took whatever they could and fed the children, which was good, right? But now we're at a level where we can have access to better quality of food. We can have these discussions. So Black Veg Fest allows us to be educated on eating, and it allows us to have access to different quality of food. I know one year when I was there, his brother was talking about cancer and the fight against it. He gave his point of view, and I thanked him for that. My mother passed from pancreatic cancer, so for him to be on that platform, giving our people this information, he's giving them options. And our people need options, right? Because when we go to the doctor and we hear something that we don't want to hear, now we're in that panic mode. Now we're thinking about how many days we have left or how many years we have left based on what this doctor said. Right? Of course, they're going to tell you in the most polite and professional way, but your mind and your body overall is going to take it and run with it, and that's when you have to decide what you're going to do with that information. So this book I added to my library along with these other books that I'm always promoting on this platform because we have to be politically educated. We have to take these ideas and move them as far and fast as we could and catch as many people as we could. So the brother says, if you find yourself going vegan due to health or environmental reasons, remember it will still greatly impact animals in the most positive way. Understand that we are accountable for what we eat, but that no one's transition is the same. The injustice of consuming animals may evade some and not others, while the book centers on the human species. This vegan and agricultural discussion may greatly aid all animals. One cannot accurately describe veganism, which involves both agriculture and environmentalism, without explaining the dangers of imperialism, the problems of capitalism, and the privilege of the West. It would be a great disservice to the average farmer abroad and those at home. After all, going vegan tends to mean eating more farm produce. So he's guiding, or he's leading into the political aspect of it by letting you know about how we need to approach our diet and its relationship to capitalism and imperialism. And Vegan Fest allows us to have these discussions, right? It allows us to focus on our diet. It allows us to come together and decide, what's the best way. Some of us might make those adjustments at our own pace, as he said, right? And we have a right to do that, obviously. But when we come together, we start to have these community discussions, and how we make an assessment of how does your lifestyle and your life choices reflect or affect the community. Um, the Black Liberation Army and Black Panther Party members, those was models, citizens, model community people, and we appreciated what they was doing. We appreciated them exercising, them going out and selling their newspapers, because they were giving our community a perspective from our own point of view. Now we had a voice, we had a platform, we had a way to connect with each other. Black Veg Fest allows us to do that. I know I was there maybe 2 or 3 times, and I seen people that I see in the events, but now we get the time to talk about different things. We get to ask each other about our family, but subconsciously we know why we're there, right? We're there to advance our family, advance our community, and advance ourselves, right? Because just because I'm vegan, it doesn't mean that I don't have no room for improvement. I still have room for improvement. And so going in and talking to people, I'm able to work on my improvement. I'm able to make a personal assessment of what I need to do more of, or what I need to do less of, and deal with people who are very serious and who are very driven because they're concerned about what goes on in our community. Our people suffer from cancer. We suffer from diabetes, hypertension, stress, and what relationship does that have to our diet? How can our diet combat that? What foods will help us fight cancer? What foods would help us fight diabetes? What foods will help us fight hypertension? What foods will help us regulate our stress? These answers, or these questions, have answers that can be provided at Black Veg Fest. So for all of you in Brooklyn during this time, please come on out. I'm scheduled to be at a table. I'll be talking about political prisoners, and I'm interested in having these discussions further, right? Because I don't want people to think that all I do is do a podcast weekly. No, I have other work to do. I'm out in the community. I'm out in the street during times when we have something happening. And this is a time that I have available to be at a table, to have conversations about political prisoners, the Virgin Island Three, Kamal Siddiqui, Mumia Abu Jamal, and more, Joseph Bowell. And I can ask people about what their views are about our political prisoners, and let them know that, our right to self-determination, our struggle, our fight for self-determination has various levels, right? We're talking about food, we're talking about clothing, we're talking about shelter. All these things are essential to our very survival. So we have to take each one very seriously. And that's what Black Veg Fest allows us to do, to take our diet very seriously. And this is going to be the 9th annual one. And I know they was looking for volunteers, and I posted up the flyer. If you're interested in volunteering, please do so. If you missed the flyer, I provided my contact. Let's get involved. Let's show support for a brother like Omawali, who put this together. I know that he spent a tremendous amount of hours organizing, having discussions. I know I tried to get him to be on this on this platform with me today so we could get more in depth, but his schedule did not allow him to do it. But I understood that, because when I seen him last year, and he told me how long he was out there. I was impressed. I had to salute him. I was inspired, right? Because when I see that level of effort, I ask myself, what am I doing? Right? I got to do more because this brother has took things to this level, and he's inspired me to do that. And going to the going to Liberation Farm, walking around the farm, having these discussions, I took the brother very seriously, and our relationship has grown. Right? I made sure I bought the book. I didn't want to be a supporter of somebody just patting them on the back, telling them, "Yo, you're doing good work. I respect you." No, it has to be an action. It has to be a certain level of practical support. Right? That means that you're coming out to something that they're doing. That means, how can I help? What can I do? I have something I can offer you, and that's why it was very important for me to commit myself to this episode of U.S. political prisons and you on Black Power Media to be about Black Veg Fest 2026, which is going to be in Lincoln Park. That's in Brooklyn, New York, um, because it allows me to make a contribution to this work. Right, there's a number of things happening. You know, us as Black people, we always got to fight something. We fight for something. We had to fight for a seat on the bus. We got to fight for quality food. We got to fight for our reparations. We got to fight for affordable housing. We got to fight for jobs in our own community, right? But it is something that we have to accept as a reality that we're a threat to people when we start advancing, and people are cautious about that, of seeing us advance, right? Those who are opposed to our advancement, but we have to realize that we are our own liberators, as Jalil Abdul Mutakim says, and that means that we have to be accountable. We have to do our role, perform our duties. We have to see what's happening in our community and support it. That means we making the time out, putting it on our calendar, and coming out and seeing what's being said and offering our contribution on any level, right? Some people might have some financial strains, but they could volunteer and help clean up after Black Veg Fest is over. It's important as a parent, right? My son is already an adult, so he has his own outlook on life, and he make his own decision about whether he's going to be vegan or not. But regardless of what, he still has to make an assessment about the food that he's eating. Fortunately, he was able to see me exercise, and he took that on his own. And he sees the value and the importance of exercising, and he's committed to that. And I'm pretty sure that with his diet, he makes an assessment about what he's going to eat and what he doesn't eat. He's chicken and turkey and things like that, but I know he doesn't eat the pork and beef. So as parents, we have an impact or influence on our children. And Black Veg Fest 2026 allows us to have that, allows us to bring our children to this function, allows us to come together with our children and allow them to hear things at their level from somebody different, right? I know me as a parent, sometimes when I would say things over and over again, it's like at some point my son would not want to hear what I had to say. It becomes redundant because the same message is being preached over and over again. But now if I have an outsider saying exactly what I've been said, now he's dealing with it differently. Now he's taking it in a lot more. Because I know that, I wouldn't have been able to have him that focused on teaching him self-defense as the school that me and his mother had him in, the Taekwondo, and we was able to get years out of that. And that came because we knew that we had to get somebody outside of his family, outside of his immediate circle to train him. And that's the beauty and that's the power of Black Veg Fest. It allows somebody or entire community to come together and educate our children. Right? It says the African proverb says, "I am we." The African proverb also says that it takes a village to raise a child. Right? It takes a village to let a child know the importance of proper diet. What benefits are you going to have? You're going to be able to run longer, harder, faster, by what you put in your body. Black Veg Fest allows us to arm ourselves, right? We are all soldiers in this battle, in this fight, in this struggle for our right to self-determination. And Black Veg Fest allows us to be armed correctly, right? As we put the proper food in our body and we get educated on what's happening, and we start to apply that to our everyday life as organizers. And even if you're not an organizer, but you're just a person in the community living life, right? You still have to think about your diet and think about the impact it's going to have on your family. Right? We all have to answer to somebody, and our family is looking for us as for answers. Right? If we're a parent, our children is looking for us for answers. You're gonna have a child a certain age that wants to play and doesn't understand that you're too tired to play. But that diet has a lot to do with it. So Black Veg Fest allows us to do that. If you're an organizer and you're very serious about organizing, then now this is the time to deeply reflect on that. How can I get more out of the years that I have ahead? Right? What can I do to, excuse me, what can I do to get the best quality of this life that I have left? And Black Veg Fest allows you to do that, to talk to people who are very educated in this area. And this dialogue continues to find its way throughout our community. And people would go on and share their memories of Black Veg Fest. Yeah, I was there. I tried this. It was good. Yeah, they gave me some recipes. I'm gonna try that. Yeah, I didn't like this, but I like this. Yeah, I don't know if I'm ready, but it's something that I gotta consider. And these are very important, powerful discussions because it directly relates to our political prisoners. Our political prisoners made commitments and sacrifices. They understood that it's not about me, it's about us. Am I an asset or a liability to my people, to my community? And once they start to examine that, then now they're giving up certain habits, right? Could might be the smoking, might be the fast food. Well, this is not going to let me be a better organizer. I have to give this up. I want to be able to get as much time out of this body as I possibly can to service my people. So I got to make some serious personal decisions, some health decisions. I got to do what is necessary for the collective, what is best for the collective. So when you read these books on our political prisoners, our captured freedom fighters, you ask yourself the question, what sustained this person for so long? Yes, it was love, right? But love has various expressions. What are you putting in your body to express that you love your body, right? If you're not reading the ingredients and you're just consuming a number of different things, what effect is going to have on you? How are you going to be able to interact with your people? Are you having conversations that are exciting or dull because you're fatigued, right? When I read these books and I hear about the sacrifices, I hear about the passion that our captured freedom fighters had, or even, and yes, and still have, right? Because you have Mumia Abu Jamal, he's still writing, he's still speaking. And that is because of that deep rooted, that deep love that they have for our people, that understanding that they have to make those sacrifices in order for them to be able to do this work long term. So it's a great deal of respect that I have for my brother Omawali with Black Veg Fest, and admiration for what he's doing in Black and Liberation Farm. And that's not just him, right? Obviously, he has a team. And forgive me for not knowing every team member, from the person who makes sure the permits are done to the person who cleans up after everything is done, or the people who clean up after everything is done. You know, forgive me for not knowing your name personally, but I salute you and I shout you out uh, in this way because you definitely appreciative. And Black Veg Fest allows us to express to the community the power that we have when we activate that inner love, activate that expression of concern and accountability. And August 8th, that's the place to be. It's going to be from 12 to 7. Show up and have dialogue and express your appreciation for those who put this together. Right? There's always something that you could do. And I know the brothers will be very appreciative for whatever you're able to do at whatever level. And make sure you share with as many people as possible. Let them know about Black Veg Fest. Let them know about the power that we have as a people coming together, organizing, being very serious about our current situation and our diet. And y'all know how I ended. Free them all. That's the call. Don't let political prisoners die in prison. Make time to write to a political prisoner. August 8th. This is the place to be. Thank you again for the great organizers at Black Veg Fest. Peace and love. See you next week.